Hey guys, and welcome to part 3 of Fallout History and Lore. My name's Captain Shaq, host of the channel TheXPGamers, where we support the modding community. Now, in part 2, we looked at the world of Fallout and how the endless wasteland was created in the Great War, all setting the scene for one of the best RPGs of all time, Fallout 1. The year is 2164, 84 years after the 2-hour war ended the world. The story begins in Southern California in an underground shelter called Vault 13. The player is tasked with finding a water chip, a chip that is responsible for the water recycling system and pumping water throughout the vault. The vault's overseer gives the player the task of leaving the safety of the vault and go search for a replacement before the vault runs dry in 150 days. Armed with minimal equipment and your only companion, a small information processor called a Pip-Boy 2000. A Pip-Boy is a powerful device originally manufactured by Robco Industries to be a specialized piece of equipment used by travelers. It holds a surprisingly large amount of information, can transfer data from holodisks and data tubes. Its primary function is mapping surrounding terrain via powerful satellite uplinks and sonar imaging while simultaneously tracking and monitoring the user's health. Some versions have a buddy chat program, timers and alarms, motion sensors, and even more. Your character, known as the Vault Dweller, sets out for a vault nearby called Vault 15, located near a small settlement called Shady Sands. This settlement was founded by the inhabitants of Vault 15 using a GEC to become a self-sufficient small community. Years later, this small town would become the capital city of the new California Republic and populate tens of thousands. Lowering himself inside the rat-filled hole that was once a vault, he finds it in complete disrepair, having had several cave-ins, water damage, and complete power failure. After making your way all the way to the command center, you're greeted with a message that the chip is not salvageable and you must find it elsewhere. After exploring the wasteland, eventually the Vault Dweller makes his way to the major trading center called the Hub. The Hub was originally an old-world town that was relatively untouched by the Great War. Here, caravans are organized, supply goods to Shady Sands, Junktown, the Boneyard, and even all the way over at the Mojave Wasteland. A rumor in the Hub says that there are monsters in the desert that are abducting humans from the caravans. Here, the Vault Dweller can work out a deal with a group of water merchants to supply Vault 13 with water, and this will add an extra 100 days on top of the 150 that you started with. Also, the Vault Dweller here will find out about Vault 12 and a city known as Necropolis. Necropolis is what remains of Bakersfield, California, and what remains of Vault 13. Vault 13 was designed by the Enclave so that the doors couldn't close when the nukes began to fall. The vault's occupants were exposed to extremely high doses of radiation. This led to the transformation of its inhabitants into ghouls. These ghouls divided into 3 groups: the surface dwellers, who were numerous and paranoid about non-ghouls and outsiders; the glowing ones, heavy irradiated ghouls rejected even by their own kind; and the underground ghouls living in the city sewers. It is here that the Vault Dweller finds the water chip whilst observing an unusual super mutant invasion, which may be a serious threat to humanity's future. Heading home with the water chip in hand, the Vault Dweller has saved the vault for now. The Overseer believes that the amount of super mutants located at Bakersfield does not match up with the natural rates of mutation. Believing that somebody must be creating super mutants and fearing for the safety of the Vault Dweller is once again asked to leave his home and find and destroy the super mutant threat. Exploring the wasteland, the Wanderer eventually finds an old military base where humans are being dunked in giant vats of FEV, forced evolutionary virus, in order to create a super mutant army commanded by the Master. The Master, originally born Richard Gray, is a horribly mutated brain behind the super mutant army that is roaming the wasteland collecting humans. He is worshipped by the Children of the Cathedral, a religious group the Master created to cover his activities to spread his philosophy that the nuclear holocaust, invoked by human greed, corruption, and selfishness, was a chance to begin anew. By turning all remaining humans into mutants, he would create unity and thus peace. The Vault Dweller eventually infiltrates the base and destroys it. This can be accomplished in a number of different ways, from direct combat, to getting aid from the Brotherhood for a frontal assault, to sneaking in or even going in disguise instead of robes. Once inside, the Vault Dweller destroyed the base using a self-destruct sequence. Now, the Vault Dweller had one final task: to stop the Master located inside the cathedral south of the Boneyard. Now, there are 3 ways of stopping the Master. You can do direct combat by just directly killing the Master, which will set a self-destruct sequence in the base, Or you could use speech. Using speech, the Master can be either talked down or shown a report, if you have it, that proves super mutants are sterile. Realizing that all he has done was for nothing, the Master can't cope with all the acts and atrocities that he's committed. He commits suicide by detonating the nuke, allowing the Vault Dweller just enough time to leave. If the Vault Dweller has a high enough science skill, or a key from the Mariposa base, he can head down to the nuke itself and set it on a 4-minute countdown, destroying the Master. One other non-canon option for the Vault Dweller is to join the Master by giving away Vault 13's location. This causes the game to end in a cutscene. Vault 13 is destroyed, and the Vault Dweller kills the Overseer. After killing the Master, a cutscene ensues, in which the players automatically return to Vault 13. You are told that you've done great things for the Vault and all of humanity, but if you come back, everyone would want to leave the Vault, and the Vault Dweller must leave for the good of the Vault. Thus, you're rewarded with exile into the waste, because in the Overseer's eyes, it's for the good of the Vault.
Everyone will want to talk to you. Every youngster will look up to you and want to emulate you. And then what? They'll want to leave. What happens to the Vault if we lose the best of a generation? What if we are the only safe place in the world? You just gave us back all these lives. I can't take the chance of losing them.
Alternatively, if you have enough negative karma, you can have another non-canonical ending where you draw your handgun and shoot him in the face. In the next part of this series, I want to take a look at what happened to the Vault Dweller after he left, after his exile, and take a look at what happens in Fallout 2. If you enjoyed this video, please like this video, subscribe to my channel or TGN for more awesome lore and history videos and modding videos. If you're interested in modding, come on over and take a look. I will see you guys next time.